Okay, we are going to pick up from the Chaf Aleph Amud Beis, the bottom of the Amud, 4 lines from the bottom. Moide Rav Huna. Rav Huna, Moide Amr Rav Yosef. Rav Yosef says, Umoide Rav Huna. We spoke about yesterday about rival competition. If a person could come and walk into your Mavi and open up a similar shop. So Rav Huna is Moide over here, B'mikri de Darki de Loi Matzi Ma'ak, regarding teaching that you cannot prevent. Damamar, Ezra, Julie, we literally just started. We're in the first statement. Damamar, Ezra, Tikain, Lahan, Yisrael. Ezra was Misakin for the Yiddish nation, the Washi, Mashivin, Cypher, Betzat Cypher. They could have a teacher next to the teacher. Frektik Marav and Nechos Doma Asi. Maybe we should be concerned that what happens is if there's another teacher, he's not under so much pressure, and he's going to slack off. And for the Gemara, Amalei, no, we saw this yesterday. Kenas, Seifrim, Karbe, Chachma. We all know that when someone, especially in yeshiva, in a high-pressure system, it's better like that. You're jealous of your friends, and you're going to learn and prepare yourself harder. Even a teacher, a Rebbe, etc., will make sure to outperform himself. Okay. Amar Rav Nachman bar Rav Yitzchak. Another concept we're going to show you. We're actually on top of the Amud. Chav Beis Amud Aleph, the first line. Amar Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak u'moide Rav Huna b'rei de Yeshua. We just said earlier, we're trying to find cases where usually it's forbidden to go into another town, village, mavi, etc., to open up more competition. However, in this scenario,
just to make sure, there's a Gemara where you're not allowed, if there's a dead end street, you aren't allowed to open more than one of each item.
That was yesterday's Gemara. That it's Mavi, so that's what it is. A Mavi is basically a dead end street. The bunch is a big courtyard with a bunch of houses, and someone comes up and starts selling his own merchandise. You're not allowed to come in, especially if you're not even from the Mavi, and sell and be his competition.
But this was where if one person was in there, you couldn't open up again.
Correct.
But that wasn't yesterday.
That was yesterday's. Where
else would I have learned it?
That I can't tell you. Maybe in Erevin. Where it talks about Mavi, I don't know.
Yeah,
maybe it's possible. Let's continue. Regarding to peddlers, they sell cosmetics, they sell beautiful perfumes and everything. Even though there's already a special merchant that everyone knows, Joe the merchant sells these cosmetics, you're still allowed to come in and continue selling cosmetics. Competition. Ezra Tikkun Lan Yisrael. Ezra was masakin for Klal Yisrael. That what? Sheyu Reichlin Machzirin Ba'Yarois Kadei Sheyu Tachshitim Mitzuin Livnais Yisrael. Ezra was masakin. Reichlin, we find that as a Reichlin Lashon Hara because we saw this in Akdama Chavetz Chaim that he goes from one to another. That's what he does. He's going around selling to all the villages cosmetics, and the reason is in order for people to be attracted to their spouse. We want we want the Klais or their wives to look very attractive. Okay. Vahani Mili. You're allowed to come in and continue selling. However, Vahani Mili, the Gemara clarifies this. Hani Mili Haduri, to come in and just go knocking doors and offer your cosmetics. Avalik Vuyiloi, not allowed to set up a permanent shop because again you're taking away from his competition. However, there's an exception. But if this person is a Talmid Chacham, he's allowed to set up a permanent shop. Why? We find this case. Rava allowed because they were Talmid Chachamim. The like Yehochasa. Rather, it was the name Meshur Sedin. Why? My time of keeping their Abananinu, since the Halig, the Talmid Rabbanan, they'll learn Torah all day. We want them to be able to sit down, have a shop, open up a Gemara, and steig away. And then when people come in, they're able to just offer the services as opposed to knocking on every single door. It's a full-time job. They're not going to have time to learn Torah. We're going to find such a Maisa. There was these people, they sold these baskets, and they brought the baskets to the city of Bavel. Okay, here we're not talking about the country of Bavel, we're talking about the city of Bavel. the residents of Bavel came. They were upset. They said, "Get out of here! You're not a local resident." Also, they went in front of Ravina. May Alma Asu. You're right. They're coming from out of the city. However, La Alma Lazabnu. We're talking about where it was a very big trade show going on. So therefore, the people that were coming to the trade were allowed dafka from the city. Therefore, they had a right to sell also, even though they weren't from the city. Vahani Mili, Beyoim the Shukka. This is only talking about the day of the trade show. And even on the Shukka, we're talking about on that market day in the trade show. You have to go to that wherever the show was. To go around now that you're in the, let's say, Muncie made a big show, trade show regarding selling these type of wood baskets. You can't now go to the residence. You're only able to sit in the show, and the reason is because people from all over the world are coming to this show. Another exception. Hanu Amirai. Julie, what's everything fine? Yes, very good shmakig Mars today. Hanu Amirai the Aisu Amra Lafum Nahara. There was these people, they sold wool, and they brought it to the city of Fum Nahara. I love it. It's a very similar story. They were getting upset. They said, "Get out of here." I said, "Come in there." Kahana. They approached Rav Kahana. Rav Kahana told these sellers, "Batsim is these local residents have a right." And, according to Avuna, we clearly said you're not allowed to sell here. So Amalei, they told Kahana, Islach Ashray. You're right. What should we do? But we have credit. Debt. People owe us money in the city. Before they knew, basically, they didn't realize that people are going to come. The competition quickly took them a few days to realize what's going on. And meanwhile, they were selling on credit. So they said, "Okay, you know what? We'll leave town. We'll leave Muncie." But we didn't realize this whole Nakuda that we have to leave. And we sold people on credit. Now we're going to lose all our money. So you know what he answered? No worries. Stay here for a few days. Go and sell the amount required for your livelihood. So you went and collected all your debts. Then you must leave the village and the town, according to Avuna. Okay, another incident. Rav Dimin Ardoi, Rav Dimin brought dried figs by ship. He wanted to sell it by where? By where the Reish Galusa was. Rish Galusa Rava. The Rish Galusa pulled up to Rava. Go look at Rav Dimin. Check him out. Eat some. If he's a Tamach Chacham, in a Chanami, then tell everybody only he's allowed to save the place for him to sell it. Only he's allowed to sell it. He wanted to test him, right? So he asked him. So what did Rabba tell him? Rabba told his Talmud, Rav Adabar Abba, Poik Tehe Loi Bikankanke. Go and smell him out. So it's a sprach basically saying, ask him questions. See if he's made out of wine, which means he's a Tamach Chacham, or he's a smelly out of vinegar, and he's faking it. He's not a Tamach Chacham. No, fuck. Also, Abba left and went there. And he asked the question as follows: Pil Shebalak Fifa Mitzri. An elephant swallowed a very large reed basket. Now, a willow reed basket is Mekabel Tumah. However, the Mishnah talks about in Hilchos Tumah. It says that something that's made out of tsaya is not Mekabel Tumah. So the question was, he swallowed the basket, there's a big elephant, and it came out through the rest, number two. So the question becomes, is it considered tsaya and therefore it's not Mekabel Tumah, or it didn't change? So he said as follows. And it came out, went through the system, Mahu. Is it Mekabel Tumah like a regular reed basket, or went through the system? Okay. So Rav Dimi, sorry, Rav Dimi did not answer. He didn't know the answer. The answer really is, they're trying to explain that it is Mekabel Tumah, because the halach is only when it's Mishane, it comes to Shinu, it's not Mekabel Tumah. Nothing changed. This elephant was so big, it was the type of thing that even though it went through the whole digestive system, it didn't do any Shinu.
It wasn't, I would assume it wasn't a kli anymore.
That's what we thought. The answer was it was a kli. Nothing changed because we're talking about such a big animal, a pill, an elephant. So we find that even today, certain products of the body, as a smaller comparison, nothing really changes. So it's the same type of thing. Amalei, Abdimi, Torah Abba, Marnihu Rava. Are you Rava? So this is Abdimi Tav Kahana. Are you Rava? Okay. So because he thought he was Rava, he knew that Rava was the big Rava of the town. He didn't realize it was really his Talmud. He tapped his stick on Radimi Shu. Amalei, Bedidi le Rava, between me and Rava, because I was his Talmud. Ikatuv is a great gap. Mio Al karchach ana Rabba. I'm even more superior to you. The Rabba and Rabba is the Rabba, the teacher. Like not gule shukon, they therefore didn't hold him a place to Avdimi. Pasuk Gergus today, dried figs are spoiled. Also, with Av Yosef, so Avdim went in front of Yosef and Amalei. Chazi Mahar my Abdullah. Look what they did to me. Amalei, man, what should they do? Yosef told Avdim as follows: Man de loy shaya loy nisa the milk of Adon. The one who did not delay the Rebbeinu Shalom, avenging the busha of Edom, loy neshaya loy nisa will not delay avenging your busha. Now, the reason why he was embarrassed. Now, al pi halacha, you're right. Avdimi should not get the schus to sell. However, what happened was Rav Ada bar Abba went beyond this and he embarrassed him by hitting him with the shoe, tapping him on the shoe by telling him how much better. How do we know this? He's not going to. He's Rebbeinu Shalom is going to take a revenge. Shalom said regarding the three chatam that Mayav did. Val arba, but regarding the fourth, lo yeshivenu, I'm not going to pardon. What did he do? Al sarfais atzmois melech edoim lashir. He burned
32A2.
Yes, and he burnt the bones of king of Edom into lime, and so to you I'll not turn away and punish him. What happened was the king of Mayav, he burnt the Yairish of the Edom throne, and he mixed his ashes with lime. Those days they were quite brutal, and he smeared them against the wall. These was the ashes of this person. And what happened was, you ready for this? Noch nafshi der Ada bar Abba. Rav Ada bar Abba died. This was the time of the Rava. Wow. Right? So now, what happened was, everyone got, all the people involved in this incident, this episode, wanted to take the blame. The reason why Rav Ada bar Abba died was because of their fault. So let's go through it. Each one's going to say it was their fault. Okay. The Gemara says, Rav Yosef Amar, Rav Yosef in the beginning says, I know Nishte. I punished him. Why? I know, Latisi, I was the one who cursed him, right? Because Rav Dimi went in front of Rav Yosef and he said, look what they're doing to my figs. And Rav Yosef told him this curse. Rav Dimi ben Adoy Amar, I know Nishte, I was the one who punished him. I lost my money because of him, right? That was the whole Maisa. Abai Amar, Abai says, I know Nishte, Damalu Rabbanan. Why? What happened was, this has nothing to do with this specific story with the figs. What happened was, Damalu Rabbanan, Rav Ada would say to the Rabbanan, Magri misu garmi be'abaya, instead of chewing the little bones of abaya. Su ichlu bisr shamina be'rava. This is what you have to remember. Ada bar Abba was who? He was Rava's Talmud. He wasn't Abaya's Talmud. He used to tell the people walking into Abaya's house, "What are you busy with the little stuff? Come to my Rebbe. My Rebbe is a knack." And because of that, he was Kilu. Abai thought he was insulted. Since he was an insult to him, punished him. I punished him. Why did he have a So whenever Abado, which was his own Talmud, he would go to buy meat. He would tell the butcher, I'm going to take the meat before the servant the Rava, right? He was basically Rava sent him. Why? Right? All the Rav Ada bar Abba recognized that Avada. There's no question about it. Even from the incident earlier, you see that Rav Ada bar Abba was masher his Rebbe by telling Rav Dimi, between me and my Rebbe's massive gap, he thought that he should still proceed to serve the Rava. Because very nice Rav Ada bar Abba, and there's a Talmud, right? There's Rava, there's his Talmud, and then there's Rav Ada bar Abba. Okay. I know differently because I'm better than him. Now we're left to the last story, and this is Taka. The Gemara is going to say this is probably the reason why he was nifter. So let's go through it. Rav Nachman Yitzchak Amar, I know Nishte, I punished him. Why? The Rav Nachman Bar Yitzchak. What was he? He was Reish Kalahava. He was the person that gave on Shabbos the public lecture. So every day before Rav Nachman would enter the whole area where they gave this massive lecture. Marid Bahadei Rav Ada bar Abba l'shamaitze. Rav Ada bar Abba quickly went through, the lesson with him. And then only then Rav Nachman entered the kala. So that's how it was. Every day before he'd quickly go through it with them, he prepare it with them, and then go and give the shir. The day of Ada bar Abba, what happened was Naktura Papa ve Rav Huna Brede B'Shula Rav Ada bar Abba. They decided they came to handle the shir before Rav Nachman. Mishum de lo have b'siyuma. because they were talking about that they were Messiah and the Masechtas of Bechayros, and they wanted to hear what Rava says. They went back to hear it up. That's what Rashi says. He gives a few reasons. Okay, that's the second reason I see this Bechayros. Amrlei. So they said to Rabba, Emelon Hani Shmaitza the Mais Behema. Go tell us this halacha of the Bechayros. Hey, Amrina Rava, how did Rava explain it to them? Amalahu, Rav Rava said to them, Hachi Amirava, Vachi Amirava, and he told Mamish the whole drasha that Rava would say. Hachi, in the meantime, what happened was because he got delayed, because he was handling with them this Besachtes Bechayros from the previous week. Nagach le Rav Nachman Yitzchak. Nachman Yitzchak was getting nervous. He wanted to start a share, but he wasn't showing up. Why wasn't he showing up? Because he got delayed by telling these people, right? He was telling Rav Papa Rav Huna previous years, giving them the Chazara. But Layasi Rav Ava, and he did not have time to come and review with him. Okay, so Amalei Rabbanon, Rav Nachman Yitzchak, the Rabbanon, they were waiting for Nachman Yitzchak. They said, "Come, go, let's go, give us the share already." The Nagalan Lama Yasimar. Why are you waiting? Who are you waiting for? And really, he was waiting for it to really prepare the share with the stomach. Amalu Rav Nachman said to them, Yasivna, I am sitting in the Kaminator and Atana La Arse. Everyone should underline the word La Arse. Arse is what we call, in our Erzal especially, you ever saw, right? Levi's in Erzal just wrapped in a talus. He's in a stretcher. He said, I'm waiting for the stretcher. That was the Klalakilu. The Rav Adabar. I'm waiting for him to come. He didn't really mean it literally, right? He was trying to say that he's waiting for him. And the Hachi Nafakala the Nachna. Meanwhile, as soon as he said the word came out that he died, and the Gemara says, Mistaber, the Nachman Yitzchak was the one who was Anche, and we find such a Gemara many times in Shas. Keshgaga Hayaytse Mepi Hashal. We find this in Ksubas, in the 5th parak, right? With the Maisa. And I think in the Testament base it talks about over there with the crying before Shabbos, they waited for a husband. I forgot who it was that waited for a husband. But the point is, is that whenever a Talmid Chacham says something, it's like a king. A king says an order, even if it was a mistake, you must do it. Just like we saw by Hordas with Paik Hadar, the mountains. He'll never renege on his statement. Okay, now we're going to continue with the Mishnah. That was a very geschmack, Julie. I see you enjoy this a lot. This was very fascinating to you. Okay. Mi shahaya kaislai samach lekaisa chaver. One whose wall was near the wall of his neighbor. The halach is la yismaich. So Mishnah la yismaich la kaisalach. He may not place another wall near his neighbor's wall. And then kain herchak mimeno daled amas. The Gemara is going to explain mamish in a moment what this means. Hachalainos. We saw this when we learned the Raya for Hezek Rio, right? Remember we saw this in the Perish Chai. Bein melamalon. Bein lemamatam, bein mekanektin. You have to go arba amas, and we explained. Remember that we saw this illustration over there is because remember this picture we saw this early in the first parak. By Hezekiah that he shouldn't peek and see into this house. You have to build it high up the amas. So that is the halach. We're going to see in Amud Beis. The Gemara is going to explicitly say this. Now, let's go right into the Gemara. The Gemara is going to question as follows. The first sentence of the Mishnah says, one who had a wall, and it sounds like it fell. Okay. The halach is he's not allowed to build another one unless he has to move down. It's tomorrow. It sounds like how could he put the first wall closer to the person? Why only the second wall? What's the difference? I'm going to review the hachikam. This is what it means. One who comes to place a wall near the wall of his neighbor. The halach is he has to go down amas. So, and it's not talking about that there was a wall before that. It says haya. The person did have a wall. It's very clear. It sounds like it was indicating that there was a wall previously. So this is what Rabbi says. One who had a wall near his neighbor's wall at a distance of Dal Amas, and now it collapsed. Which means to say is avada, where we are talking about there was a previous wall. So the Gemara is going to question right now. The Gemara is going to explain. Why do you have to come onto a previous wall? Say it's a new wall. What's the difference? Mar says, my timer that we're talking about another wall. Why bichlal can't you build a wall closer to your friend's wall? Let's look at the picture to give a little more clarity. This is Kaisel Reuven. Okay? This is Kaisel Reuven. Let's see if they give a different picture now. This is Kaisel Reuven. Reuven Shimon's wall used to be over here. Mar says he's not allowed to put the wall over here, very close to the first wall. And we're going to see in a moment, literally in a moment, why not. The Gemara says, why can't I put the wall very close to his wall? There's no problem as a Griot. Gemara says, my time of the daf shadahach. Let's look at this picture. You see, people are treading in between the two walls. What happens is it compacts the ground. You're pounding the ground over and over, and then makes the foundation very, very strong. The more people walk, the more people are pounding the ground, and therefore that's the reason. So now we can understand the chiddush of what? Of why it has to be even in a second wall. You know why? You know what I would have told you? In a time when you want to put your first wall, I can understand. People haven't gone through there and compacted it. But over here, in this scenario, if this wall was up for 10 years, if you ask me, I would tell you, you could put the wall there. You want to know why? Because people already were traveling for 10 years and the wall is already good. Kamashmal in the Mishnah? No, you still can't put the wall there, and you always need it. I'm understanding this in my own svar. They constantly needs to be compacted. That means to say that if there's ever a long period of time, eventually will degrade. That's what I'm understanding the Gemara. Okay. Amar Rav. Rav is qualifying that you're not allowed to build a wall down. Dafka a case where it's a gina, where it's a garden. Why? Because people didn't go right next to the garden. Therefore, we want it to be right. If there's a garden, it's beautiful flowers. There's no one walking. Let's think about it. There's no one walking in the garden, right? You're going to ruin the flowers. So the only time it's a one way that people are walking. Over here is the garden. Is anyone walking on those flowers? In this side, there's no picture, but over here, no. So it's only people walking over there. However, of the case of Chatzer, where it's a neighbor's ward, it's not a problem. Because either way, people are walking in the inner side. Mar says, if Aishiyama, no, it doesn't make a difference. And the Gemara is going to explain, they're not really arguing, even in the case of Chatzer. Where is Rav talking about? It's talking about an old town, that's why by a Chatzer, it's not a problem. Why is it not a problem? Because people already did the reinforcement many years ago. So it's not like what I told you earlier. I told you a svara that it needs to be constantly compacted. The answer is not. Gemara says no. By Ir Yeshana, it's not a problem. By Ir Chadasha, where Vaishya says even a courtyard is talking about a brand new town where there's not a lot of people that pounded the earth. Now, I would tell you that the halacha, what's bothering me is then why when the kaisel fell, do I need to rebuild it 10 feet away? It's like an Ir Yeshana, if you think about it. Okay, food for thought. We have a mission that says, we just saw this, whether it's a high up, we saw this on base of a base. The reason why it's high up, so you shouldn't be able to peek inside. So you shouldn't stand up on the wall and see inside. So it's very clearly that what we saw, that we're talking about a wall that's higher than the window. However, if the wall is lower than the window, it's not going to block the sunlight. And we make a deal. Time, the only reason is you're not allowed to do this whole light. You're allowed to put the wall because of people walking through is not an issue. So how could Rabbi say the reason why you need to leave us four amos in order to compound the karka? It's not true. We're talking about, I'll show you the case in a moment. Means the wall is coming sideways. What's this mean? If we look at this wall, where is this? I did see illustration of Bum and Etzad earlier.
Here,
they have
here.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, everyone should look at the diagram in note 9. And they also bring it over here. Okay. Yeah, does everyone see note 9? The diagram, so it's coming from the side, the new wall. Therefore, do we all see how it's only a few inches that are not getting compounded. Everywhere else is not a problem. Okay. However, the Bryce did not specify how much space do you need not to darken. It just said, You have to go far in order that you shouldn't darken the name. The Gemara says, "V'kama Amar Yeva Chamud Ashen Barnadbuch Mishmei the Rab." And the name is Rab. The Kimloi Reichav Ha Chaloi means to say the required distance you need to give a space is a window. A window is how much? A tefach. That's all you need to give. Okay. By mere tefach, do we see the diagram of 14? We're going to see this in a moment. Let's see this. Okay. Now, I don't understand. If you tell me there's no issue of Da'at Amos, we have two issues by the kaisel next to the wall. One issue is you're going to peek into the guy's house. Has a career. Another issue is you're blocking the sunlight. So how much is for the sunlight? The Gemara says tefach. It's good enough sunlight to come in. But again, you need the Da'at Amos for peeking. So where does it ever come out to a tefach? The Gemara says, where if you look at the picture, the wall is very slanty. If it's a total slanty wall, could anyone stand on such a wall? You can't stand, you'll fall off. It's a slope. If it's a slope, it's impossible to stand or lean on it. They don't have a picture over here, but the Parish guy brings it down. Do we understand that if a slope wall, you can't, could you stand on such a wall, a steep slope? You can't stand and look in.
What about the fact that it's blocking the light?
Tefach. So tefach for the light, Da'at Amos for Hezekriya. Where's the nafkamina? The Gemara says, where does it ever come in only a tefach? On a slope wall, no problem. Hezekriya, there's a problem with something.
It's a slope wall, but it's not steps.
Correct. Okay, we're almost done. We're going to stop at the Mishnah. V'anan tnan arba amas. We just said a minute ago you need to have Da'at Amos and not a tefach. Lai kasha. In a case, kamuruch achas, where it's only one wall in front of the window, so it's not, you have plenty of light coming from all the sides, so it's good enough for tefach. Kan mishtei ruchais. If you look at the diagram on the second one on the page, they bring it down to no 15. If there's two walls, even if it's a tefach away, you're basically enclosing the whole perimeter, more or less. Therefore, there's not going to be any light. Tashma, we learned the Mishnah. Mina meschila arba amos. A wall must be distanced 4 amos from the gutter of the house. Why? Because she has if it's a sulam. In order for the person to be able to put space, he needs enough space to have his ladder climb up on the roof to clean his gutter. Okay, that's the halacha, even though he didn't tell him how much space. Look at diagram 18. Everyone see that? He has a ladder going up to clean the gutter. So we make a diak. Time and mishum sulam. The only reason why I need the Da'at Amos is for the sulam. Aval mishum davar shaloi, but not to provide space for treading. And again, we're talking about the maschila mishupas. The mishum davar shehi haka'azav asituse. It means to say is we're talking about a gutter that overrides, and people use that gutter for the shade and for rain. It goes over the wall, therefore people are going to go under that. That's why there's not a problem of Da'at Amos. We are going to pick up from Yetzer Shem Chav Beis Amud Beis from the Mishnah.